So today we'll be interviewing Joe Pereira, who's a researcher at UNSW as part of our video assignment for SCIF 1131 and our startup. So coming from a hometown of Lima in Peru and travelling all the way in Australia to complete high school at Christian Brothers High School, would you say that your past experiences in education as well as the change in environment pushed you to look more closely in this field of science?
Yeah, I'd say so, because I don't think this is very well developed where I come from. Here in Australia, we have the luxury of actually being able to do this kind of science and research, and it's relatively well funded. So I'd say it definitely did push me to look more closely, say, science in general, and then being here to look at looking at what I specifically look at.
Well, okay, I'll branch out on that question. What exactly do you do? What are you researching at the moment?
Well, I'm involved in natural product discovery, dealing with cyanobacteria, kind of bacteria that are responsible for generating a lot of oxygen in the earth. But they also produce byproducts that could be toxic and could be useful as sort of anti-tumor or anti-cancer agents. And I'm just looking at the biochemistry and the genetics behind it to see if we can use these compounds in a productive way.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So I have a question as well. Could you please describe to us one of your typical work days?
It's a bit of a tricky question because every day is different, which is what's kind of the fun part of this job. But generally, you come in and you have your experiments set out throughout the day, and they could involve a bunch of different things. So you're in the lab for most of the time, and you're also checking emails from supervisors or colleagues if they need something, because there's a lot of writing involved. So it varies. It definitely varies. Some experiments don't take too much. Some take a bit longer and have a bit of downtime. But generally, a typical day involves you doing your experiments in the morning, and then as your brain slowly starts to turn off throughout the day, you come back in here and you do a bit of reading, a bit of writing, and planning your next hack.
Alright. Cool. So now I've got a question for you. What skills do you feel are relevant and mandatory to your line of work in your day-to-day activities? Is there prerequisite knowledge and qualifications before entering this level of expertise and sophistication?
I feel that there's a bunch of things that you learn in an undergrad setting that are fundamental. Concepts more than anything, because I feel like if you ask anyone what they learned in their undergrad that have completed it 2-3 years after, they wouldn't really remember much, but the concepts are always there. Whether there's prerequisite knowledge, I feel like with most things you actually start learning on the job, and it's the same with science. You come into a new lab, and sure, you have a background in what to do, but each lab has its own way of doing things. So the more you're here and the more time you're here, the more comfortable you are with doing these procedures, to the point that you can get like first, second year students such as yourself, and we have had this in the past, coming here, and we can teach you a lot of the techniques that we do here every day.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
cool. So once your research was complete, would you say that this field of science is becoming more aware to like younger scientists such as us?
I feel that the way that science is going, at least in the biological science, is a bit more genomics based, a bit more big data analysis. Now, whether it be interesting to you, it's all as obvious as it sounds. It all depends on the individual. What I like is different to what you might like. So the parts that I like specifically about this is the, say, engineering bacteria in order to transform other bacteria and change it, which is what I like to call good science. You have to really think about it, and you have to plan several steps ahead. Is this appealing to some? I feel like it is. And something else that helps are the people that you actually meet along the way. I did a medical science degree here at UNSW. I thought I was going to be more into medical research, but because of the people I met and the experiments I tried and the concepts I learned, I was attracted a little bit more to this, and I thought, hey, this is actually pretty cool.
What are your future endeavours to your professional life? Like, will they be mainly focused on what you're doing now, or do you plan to branch out to something completely different? What are your future plans?
Well, the more you stay in academia, the more you realize that it's not the only place to stay afterwards. There are a number of industry positions, and the more you realize what the job entails, like I think a lot of supervisors are basically stuck in an office reading, writing most of the day. And I'm the kind of person who likes being in the lab, doing things, trying things out. So in terms of science, it's something that I like to tell my students. Science isn't something that you originally think it is. It's something different. It's not for everyone. It can be very rewarding though. So the best way to actually find out if it's for you is to go try it, do it. So even in first, second year, you go up to a lab and be like, hey, can I just volunteer and see what it's like? And I feel that's the same for a lot of things actually. Just go in, try it out, see if you like it. As to my professional life, I found during my time here I actually like teaching quite a bit. So some form of tertiary teaching I've always enjoyed. So who knows, maybe that, you know, or not. I could always get a job at Bunnings.
Alright, so after doing some research about you, we found that you've performed a project about the rise in water contamination, as well as the ongoing aftermath of high costs to reduce the issue. Without too much jargon or detail for our first year students, how would you describe this project, including the methods and techniques that were undergone to come to a conclusion? For example, are you macroscopically focusing your attention on the overall picture of the issue, or are you taking this one step further, distinctly concentrating on the microscopic analysis of cells?
Okay. Well, what I basically did was I was examining certain cyanobacteria that make toxins, and I wanted to find out why it is that they produce these different toxins. Is there some sort of physiological or morphological reason of why they're doing this? So, to answer your last question, I think it was more of a microscopic and genomic analysis of it. And what I found, and this is something that occurs in science, is that none of these affect the levels of toxins, of different toxins we produce. So we still don't know, which is kind of part of science. So science isn't there to answer a question in a way. Science is there that it might answer your question, but it'll produce 5 new ones. Okay, and that's how you keep going. A project ends, but then like 3, 4, 5 others continue. As to the methods that I use, it's a lot of morphology, like microscopy based, which for a while was weird because a number of my friends thought that I just counted things all day. And the others were genomics and running things in the lab, looking for certain genetic markers, and then analyzing the results and seeing what came out.
Interesting.
So, and last but not least, so this question is a little bit biased, but do you think that your profession is better than all the others? Or if you do, why do you think so?
I don't think it's better than all the others at all. Like I said, it's not for everyone. It can be really rewarding. What I find really cool is that you can go anywhere around the world and do science. It's not like you have to go and retrain or do exams. You're a scientist, you can practice science all over the world. I like it because every day is different, every day is new. And you're always working on something and trying to find something that, if you're really, really passionate about, then it's really rewarding.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, thank you so much for participating in this interview with us.
No problem.
I hope you like the best of luck with the rest of your research, and we'll see you later.
Okay.
Yay!
Thanks.
Thank you.